What's up, y'all? Dick Hi-Fi back again. We're going to be talking about the filters on the ASR today. A little more sound manipulation stuff. Filters, as you may or may not know, basically going to help tailor the sort of the EQ of the sound. Filters referring to a low pass or a high pass filter. A low pass meaning it's allowing the lower frequencies to pass through and be heard, while it's attenuating or cutting off the higher frequencies. The high pass filter does just the opposite. It lets the top end of the spectrum, the hearing spectrum, 20 to 20 hertz to 20,000 hertz, lets the top end of the spectrum pass through, and it cuts off the bottom. So I'll give you a demonstration of that right now. We're going to go to Edit, Filters. It's at the top. So it says cutoff frequency. There's a filter 1 and filter 2. It's just different versions of it. There's a different tuning of how that filter works. To me, the most effective one is you go 2 pages down, and I'll give you a graphic of what exactly that filter is doing if you want to know technically, but this kind of is most bang for the buck. So at full, it's going to give you a much thinner sound than what you had before. So I'm going to start back to, this is where I was. Okay, so this is kind of full. No filter applied, like if you would just sampled it. So I have the drum sound right there. So I'm gonna go, I'm on the wrong, there we go. It's supposed to be in this page. So the mode, go down twice, and it changes a little bit the values of the high pass and the low pass. So I'm gonna hit that again, and you're gonna notice it's quite thinner. And I'm gonna go over 1 page. Now from this page, I can really fine tune how I want that to sound. So you'll notice that the bottom end is pretty much gone, and if at this first one I pull this down, it starts at 150, goes from 150 to 0. That's the range. So if I pull this down to say 84, the top end is starting to disappear too. The further down I go with it, the sound just starts to disappear. So this is getting rid of the top end, and this is letting the low end pass through. So I'm going to pull this down. You'll hear the bottom start coming in. Now if I go all the way down to 0, this is full spectrum. Now say this was a little too muddy on the bottom, or I had like an 808 or something that I wanted to be on the bottom, and it was a little tighter. Then what I could do, instead of having those frequencies fight against each other, I can take some of this bottom out. So what I'll do is go up to, let's say go up to 60. See how this sounds. You still get a little kick attack there, but the bottom is the bottom of the bottom is gone. So if you pull it back down to I'll show you what that was. That's where it was. Much boomier. So go back up to 60. Still some kick, but the bottom is there. So if I wanted to synthetically add some bottom to that, or maybe put a different kick on there that had a bigger bottom, I would do that so they wouldn't be fight. You don't want frequencies to fight one another, and that's partially why you're going to be using these filters. You don't want a whole bunch of information, sonic information, in one area. It gets cluttered and it gets undefined. So say, all right, let's bring this down. Let me say I like 50 or 55. The little bottom still leaves room to put some low on there. So say I wanted to take the top off too. I'm gonna slide down to say 100. 100's a good spot for people that like crusty drums like me. Yeah. It's got a little bottom, and it's got enough information on the top. You can pull that down some more to 90. That's getting kind of murky. Sometimes you like that. And that would be all the way open. Lots of cymbal in there. Alright. Now that's all well and good, but you got to keep this in mind. When you are tuning these filters, you got to think about how they play with your other instruments, not just how they sound alone. It's about how they go together. So don't get hung up on, I like it when it sounds like this when it's by itself, but when it plays with something else, it's more importantly how everything goes together. That's basics of mixing, really. So just keep that in mind. and don't go overboard with trying to sound perfect. You'll be surprised sometimes when they sit together just right. Everything comes out okay. So, yeah, I mean different instruments, you want to filter them differently as well. So this is a bass, and I could take that top end off. The bass frequency still comes through. It's just going to be different. So I'll leave it on there. And all right, so that's pretty much filters. Hopefully I got these instruments sounding good together. If not, you can always come back and change them. So I hope that was informative. Take that.